think we will wait another half.
The background. Maybe it's better over here. Sorry. When you have the light in your back, you become very dark. Yes. Okay, so I'm happy to see all of you here. It has been a while since I had this Wednesday shiur, also because of the order of who is teaching, and also because of the break we had now with Pesach. This will also affect next week because it will also be Yom HaZikaron for next week. But since today we are in the day of Yom HaShoah, we thought that we will go out of our normal content of studying Midrash and having a studying that is more connected to Shoah, Holocaust, and discussing that. And I know we celebrate in our communities Yom HaShoah in very different ways, meaning in some of our community, Yom HaShoah is a very central day in remembering the Holocaust and the victims, of course. But in others, it's for example, in our community in Oslo, it's a day we don't do so much around. We have the International Holocaust Day, that is a day we remember. In Norway, we also have the 26th of November, or the Shabbat before Hanukkah, because that was the time when the Jews from Norway were sent. So we have a local Yom HaShoah, and not having too many Shoah days around the year, we have to find the right balance, because it's very important for us as Jewish people to remember the Shoah, never forget, remember the victims, remember the story, remember so it will never happen again, as we say often. But we don't want our calendar to be a calendar full of Shoah things. We want to celebrate Judaism with its normal celebrations, and then we have times for Shoah. Since it's Yom HaShoah today, we thought to take that as a topic for our shiur. For those who are in Israel, for example, Yom HaShoah is a very central day. The International Holocaust Day is a day that is not mentioned in Israel in the same way. Yom HaShoah is the one day of the year where everyone tell about the Shoah, remember the Shoah, and so on, and there is a big difference between the communities. What I want to teach about today is a little complicated, okay? So I'm a little want to see how it works, and I need your help to do it in a proper way. Because to begin with, I think to try to compare the Nazi ideology with Judaism in itself, just to say it is maybe hard to listen, because Nazi ideology is the bad, the evil, and Judaism, as we believe it, is light, is the right way to go. But I want to try to go deeper into what Nazi ideology is. It's possible that some of you have gone through it more in the past, and for some people it will be very new. And then to try to see how Judaism is different. But I will already make a spoiler. I will start with, and you could maybe think about it throughout my teaching, try to compare to begin with, to see that there are actually things that are alike. And just after we say, where is it similar, we will have to try to explain, so what is the difference, okay? Nazi ideology, we know the consequences of it. We know it very well. But it's not, it didn't start by people saying, let's go around being evil people, okay? So every ideology starts with a logical thought that people thought and thought was a good idea and explained each other that's a good idea. It has sense of okay, it could give a meaning for people, and then it was spread out and was executed in the worst way possible. I don't say it to explain. I think Nazi ideology is terrible. Okay, so that's what we start. If anyone doesn't understand things, it's okay to stop. Say, okay, could you explain this again? Because maybe we have different experiences, and stop speaking about Nazi ideology. The start of Nazi ideology, if anyone could know good enough, where does it start? I have a presentation, I'll show it in a moment, that we will use throughout the teaching today. But where does it start? What is the source? I think the main source of Nazi ideology, like if we speak about National Socialism, we can speak about it being based on social social background, saying that the state has to own the production, in difference from capitalism, where it has to be private. And in addition, nationalism, of course, that speaks about putting the nation above the individual, or not the individual above the nation. So that's like the word, but that's like more general. There is a basic ideology that the Nazism actually, the way of thinking, and it goes all over the way they actually thought this is correct to do, because it's based on theory or ideology. If anyone knows what that is and wants to try to jump into the water, if not, I'll just go to it. Yeah, economic crash is a reason how it raised. Okay, so that's very true. But we don't speak. When we speak about ideology, we speak about a theory that people think. Like, I could think that the Mashiach will come. Nationalism is also a part of it, but the main thing is, and I will share it now with my presentation, so I won't make you suffer even more. Here, yeah, anyone wants to say something?
Yeah, I'm thinking of 1933
Mm-hmm.
when Hitler, he was he got to be the president in Germany, but before that he was written about this Mein Kampf.
So he speaks about his ideas in Mein Kampf, but also they are based, and they also says it, on an older ideology. Okay,
Yeah.
and this ideology I'll show you now it's called Darwinism, and actually social Darwinism. Okay, and it's very important to understand this, because if you haven't studied this, it actually explained why they thought in the way they were thinking, and I don't see it as a conspiracy theory. That's what they said, and I could show you in a moment how it gives meaning. If it's moral or not, that's an important question we will discuss, but it has a sense of logic thinking in it. So anyone who knows what social Darwinism is and wants to share, I would want to hear other voices than myself, but if not, I'll explain it. Darwinism, most of us know what it is. Darwinism is explaining how the nature develop, okay? And because of that, the species develop themselves to be better to survive, because those who survive are those who get children. So the most known example is that if I'm a butterfly and my colors make me very clear for those who want to eat me, I'm eaten and I don't get any children. And those who have a color that makes them more connected to their background, so that those who want to eat them can't see them, they will survive. And because of that, their part of the butterfly species will live. And by that, we develop always to become better and better, or more and more suitable to survival. Okay, and those kinds in our species, it's from humans through trees and to animals and to diseases also. those who find a way of surviving, they produce more of their kind, and that's how nature is changing. Okay, that's Darwinism in a general way, very interesting way of seeing how nature makes itself better and better all the time. But when that is said, what is social Darwinism? That doesn't speak now about nature, but speak about society. Anyone who knows that?
Is it the ideology that kind of tries to explain how, quote, some races are better than others within a scientific context?
It's connected to it, and that's correct. So we'll come to that. But I would say that the idea is that if nature has always to become better and better, society also has to do the same. Okay, so that means that we could, in a society, strengthen the strong people in our society or help the weak. Which one is better? Help the weak one or strengthen the strong ones? I ask you, what do you think?
Strengthen the strong ones, obviously, because that's how you get the stronger society, according to social Darwinism.
Exactly. So our feeling normally in our societies will normally be, we'll have to help the weak ones. But social Darwinism will say that is stupid. You take the weak ones who will normally in the nature disappear, and instead of strengthening the strong ones to make your society better, what are you doing? You're using time on helping the weak ones who will not take society anyway. Okay? And this is also said, what I say now, in the words of Darwin himself. Okay? So now we'll go on to the words of Darwin himself about society. It's also in Hebrew down, but he explained the problem with society helping the weak ones. Okay? And how that affects the society. Okay? Anyone who could read that is not myself?
Yes.
Thank you.
We civilized men, on the other hand, do our utmost to check the process of elimination. We build asylums for the imbecile, the maimed, and the sick. We institute poor laws, and our medical men exert their utmost skill to save the life of everyone to the last moment. Excepting in the case of man himself, hardly anyone is so ignorant as to allow his worst animals to breed. The aid which we feel impelled to give to the helpless is mainly an incidental result of the instinct of sympathy, which was originally acquired as part of the social instincts, but subsequently rendered, in the matter previously indicated, more tender and more widely diffused. Nor could we check our sympathy, even at the urging of hard reason, without deterioration in the noblest part of our nature.
Okay, so what it says is we have a problem. We have an instinct, okay, that in a way is good to help others. That's like in when a group has to be stronger, we have to be there for each other. Nationalism will, of course, also say that we have to do everything for our society. But then it in a way, what he says, it makes us weak, that we, instead of using making our society stronger, we help the weak in our society, and then they survive, and then they don't make our species better, but actually make it worse. Okay? And now it's going, as he says himself, it goes against, I will say, happily, according to my opinion, it goes against our instincts of helping the weak. Okay? Of seeing someone suffering and helping them, someone weak dying, we want to give them their life to continue. But Darwinism say that's stupid. For society, it's not good. Okay. Now, the Nazi ideology, in many ways, take this one step ahead, okay? And the Nazi ideology, according to Hitler himself, but also others, they see the world in this way, saying we are different races, as Vilma said before, I think, and the races also have, like in between different kind of species in nature, it's a battle of who will survive, which species, which race will be the one that will survive. And because of that, based on the Nazi ideology, it's very important to strengthen the German Ari species or race, because that is the pure good race for the world. And because of that, making the world better is making the pure best race stronger. And because of that, the way, not only in the way the Nazi, or no, the German race will become stronger is not by strengthening its weak people, but by saying that everyone has to do everything to make this species win over, this race win over the other races, and make their own race more pure and less weak, okay? It's, for example, very known for many that the first people who died in the gas chambers were not Jews, but were actually German people, okay? And that was their handicapped people, the people who were, but because of different things, weak to society. They were German people who made the German race weaker. And they wanted to find a human way. I say it, it's terrible to say it, but that's their way. The best way to them, for them to die without suffering, okay? And because of that, they killed the people who were making their society weaker. The same thing will be about homosexuals from their own race. Homosexuals do not produce children, okay? They show weakness according to their manhood that has to be there for one purpose, to be strong and to strengthen the German race, okay? I hope I'm not so good to convince you that they're right, but I try to explain the ideology, okay? And because of that, the goal of a woman is to produce children, okay? That's the goal of the woman, to make strong German fighters, because that will help the German race that is above all other races and has to win over the other races. Because of that, that has to become stronger. Everything I say now is like the basic of the Nazi ideology, okay? The background of it. And because of that, many ideologies of way of leading, okay, a country make you weaker, okay? One thing that we actually see in our days also, I don't want to compare anything, but democracy is a weak leadership, okay? Because in democracy, you have to take concern with different opinions, and you're not allowed to give one person the full authority to decide for everyone else. And because of that, you have parliament, and the parliament, what do? Some say we have to go to the right, and some say we have to go to the left, and then we discuss it, and we never go anyway. Or we 4 years go to the right, and 4 years later we go to the left. So we're not leading our countries in any way, any direction, according to the Nazi ideology. So they believe that democracy, I hope you understand like the terms, if anyone has a question, ask, is making us weaker as society. It's not a strength to be, and actually democracy just also historically was forced on the German people after World War I. So they saw that, and the new constitution for Germany was written by a German Jew. Oh, he wanted to make us weaker as a race, to force on us a way of leadership that is not making us strong, that is trying to make our race weaker. And because of that, the strongest and best way is that everyone will be committed to the same goal. And that happens with this title that they show here. One people, one Reich, one nation, one state, one Führer, one leader. If everyone are committed to the one opinion, the one leader who knows how to make us stronger, we all could work together to make the German race, after so many years of humiliation towards other races, win over the other races, okay? And that's why this is the only way you could lead a country according to Nazi ideology, according to the way they see the social Darwinism, as we said, okay? It's so important to remember the details, but it's maybe good to see the background. So it's until now not really much a shiur. Torah will come to Torah, so don't worry. Okay. So we have, I'll say it shortly, the principle of the Führer. That's one of the things we saw. You can see here in their own way of showing the pyramid of making a society strong, functioning, being making it stronger, and so on. It's like one of the main principles of Nazi ideology. Of course, the Führer was Hitler, fortunately. Because of that, as we said before, a part of this is their understanding of the race. I said it before, I will see it now according to their own ideology. So when they think that the Ari, the German race, is the top of the pyramid of races, their goal will be to be above others, okay? Because that's the only way they could be what they need to be. They have to win this battle between the races, okay? And you can see that they put different races in different different orders according to how they think the races are productive, okay? So the German race, it produces knowledge, it produces culture, it produces the future, and so on and so on. Other races are not as good in producing new things. For example, and I won't go to the Jewish now, the Slavic ones, that's the most known one. The Slavic ones that they could find, if the German people can find when they look to the west, to the east, that are the Polish people, are the Russian people, are many Slavic people to the east. They are people who don't have the qualities of the German race. And because of that, their goal in the world is to serve the German. Okay, so they can't produce culture from themselves. Everything I said until now, somebody could cut out some of this shiur and it will look very bad because I try with passion to explain Nazi ideology, but I've tried to go into it. So don't take things out of content. But if the Slavic people are not able to produce things themselves, culture and other things, their meaning in the world, why should they survive? They would survive if they could help the best race, the German race, the Aric race, okay? So because of that, if they could be servants to the Aris, they have a reason to live. If not, they're not worth anything, okay? And that was also, we'll see it later, the purpose of these nations, according to the Nazi ideology. Because of that, they have a principle, the living space, okay? And that's a part, of course, also of the what Hitler writes and other writes according to this, is that they have the right not only to unite the German people that was taken away from them after World War I under one nation, one state, one leader, but also to expand their territories to the east, where the Slavic people are living. And these areas, it's good areas for agriculture and to make food and other things that could help the German people to become stronger and stronger and stronger. And the people there, they don't deserve their own land, but they could work on the land to produce food to the German people. That's their purpose in life. And because of that, the Germans look to the east to make Germany great. Okay, I won't be great again because it goes out to another ideology I don't want to mix in here. Okay, but make Germany great because their race has the right above other races. Okay, because that is the way their race will win this battle between the races. Now, when that is said, I'll ask a question and try to go in so I see that I don't speak to myself. And I'll ask you, okay, and now we spoke about where the Slavic people are in this order of races according to the Nazis. But I want to ask you, where are the Jews in this? Are they also not able to produce culture, science, to make? Where are the Jewish race in the Nazi ideology, according to your knowledge, or your what do you think? And okay, where are the Jews here? And we know they hated us, so we're not very high up. Yes,
they
Jetta.
were hided. Nobody knows that they do their own life on their own way, and that's it, as usual. In a way.
So you say correctly that the Nazis do not understand the Jewish people. I agree with that.
And they knew them, but the social society doesn't.
But they were sure that they understand Judaism very, very well. They teach about what Judaism is. Okay,
Who?
The Nazis. Okay, but according to their understanding, that not only the Jews are not the lowest in the race pyramid, they're outside it, as you said. They're hidden because they, according to Nazi ideology, Judaism is the opposite of the German people. Okay?
Another kind of race. Yeah.
So they're exactly as you say. According to Nazi ideology, Judaism is the opposite because the Jews are another race who tries to control the world and to make the Nazi or the German race weaker, okay? But the Jews are not able, according to Nazi ideology, to produce anything themselves. They use others and they mix things and they make the order of the world bad because that is the only way that, according to the Nazis, that the Jewish people with their anti-culture, they're not culture, they're anti-culture, that's the way they try to take over the world to make the world under their, like in social Darwinism, it's a kind of species who tries to make the order opposite. And because of that, it's a fight. The Germans could make the Slavic people slaves, but they can't make Jews slaves because the Jews will always find the way to make things their way to fight against the Nazi ideology. Okay, so because of that, according to Nazi ideology, the Jews, and it's based on classic anti-Semitism. It's based on a newer anti-Semitism that is racist, as we know, but based on all the ways of understanding or not understanding Jews, they see Jews as people who always try to fool them. So they looked then to the east and they saw the Jews that look like Jews and they're different. And then they looked to the neighbors that spoke German, that looked like Germans, that they served in the army like Germans. And they say they're even worse because they look like us. But inside themselves, they're part of this race that is Jews, and they ruined our victory in First World War, because that's the only way German shouldn't lose a war, because they're better than others, but because of the Jews that are traitors, that ruins our race from inside, because they try to take over the world, and are going against this idea of one race being stronger than others. Because of that, for example, okay, I will go over from Nazi, only explaining Nazi ideology in a moment. They could blame the Jews to be capitalist and to be communist, okay? And we say that doesn't make sense because it's the opposite. But according to Nazi ideology, it's not the opposite. Because when you have one state, everyone has to own everything. Capitalism gives Jews the opportunity to own and to control the world. So it goes against the national feeling, everyone together, everything is by the German. So capitalism, according to their idea, is a Jewish invention to take the money, to control the money, to make the German people work and them earning the money. That's capitalism. And communism, in a weird way, we know that it's the opposite. For them, is the same, because what does communism say? No people are better than others. Communism was a very opposite of individual, but it went against nationalism also. So that is the way the Jews, what did they try to do? They try to say all nations are the same. They control the Communist Party, and in that way, they control the world order. So in a weird way, they see the Jews as the enemy of the idea of Nazi race being the central one above all others, and they have to enslave the weaker races, but they have to fight the Jewish race against the Jewish race. It explained a lot. I won't go into details about the Holocaust itself and how it happened, but they really, it's important to say it. This is something not only Hitler said in a book, but the Nazi ideology really believed in that. And after they came to power, that is what they taught children in school, in the youth movement. So people really believed that when they fight the Jews, they're fighting for their own race, because if not, the Jews will take over the world. And when you hear these lies, many times you can't believe in that. And it led, of course, to the most terrible things the world have ever seen. And unfortunately, the biggest disaster for the Jewish people ever. But it's based on this belief that the Jew is there to ruin the order of the world and to ruin for the German race. Okay, we can speak much more about that. Let's go over to try. After we said that, trying now. I just take the everything we said until now, and I really want you to participate now. One people, one Reich, one Führer, one leader. Idea of one race being better than all other races, that has to be united as a people. Has to be united as a people, has to follow the same order, and be above all other nations. Does that seem similar to any one of you from our own religion?
Oh, please say it again.
The idea of being one nation above all other nations, that has to be united and has to follow the same set of rules and have one leader. Is that known for you from another religion that is not the Nazi ideology?
Of course. But
Okay.
the Jewish people were chosen to struggle with God and to argue with God, and to spread the light, not to rule over everyone. In the end time, if they come, we were supposed to spread light, not execute people with mental disorders.
Okay, you always, and I'm very happy that you're not, I can't fool you into my trap here, saying that yes, there are similarities, but you already say, and that's very important to see, and we will use the most part of the second part of this shiur to show that even if there are similarities, it's not the same at all. Okay, and of course that's the bottom line. If you think we will finish here saying Nazi ideology and Judaism is the same, then I'm doing a very bad work. But I think it's important also to stop a moment and to see how easy we could fall to the same slogans. Okay, because when we say Am Echad, we speak about our Jewish nation be united. Okay, it's very similar to saying one people, as the German said then. And when we say one leader, we can speak about our Mashiach, we can speak about God, we have to all together follow our leader. In many ways, it seems similar to what the Nazis said then. And being united, not splitting, one structure for all the Jewish people, we're very good in discussing. So it will probably never work on Jewish people to have one opinion. But just to speak about the desire, it seems similar. And I will add, especially the teaching that people could think that our race is above other races. Okay, it's not something that is totally foreign for the way Jews speak, or would say some Jews speak. Okay, and when we have slogan in the new Israel national movement saying things like, okay, you can see it, we hear it a lot in the Zionist Jewish movement that I'm a part of. Okay, Am Israel, Eretz Israel, Torat Israel, the people of Israel, the land of Israel, and the Torah. Then we have the one people, the one land, and the one guide. Okay, and it's something that we repeat in some of our. It's not all the. If you go to Haredi places, they will speak less about the land. They'll speak about the people and about the Torah. But the Zionist movements that I'm also a proud part of, okay, that also speak about the land, could show some similarities that I have to say scare me a little. Okay, even speaking about the rights that one nation has on land of others, because their race is above others, or unfortunately, according to my opinion, I have seen inside. It's a small part of the Jewish people that already are drawing a map of Israel going all the way to Iraq, okay, and to Kuwait, because all of that has to be our land. I'm not sure that that is a humble way, but we have these elements in our people. And because of that, we have to use the 20 minutes, but I'll try to use more than that, to explain how different Judaism is from Nazism. And in which way it's in many ways, as the Nazis said, the opposite of Nazism, okay? It's the opposite of Nazism in many ways, and we'll try to show that. But first I have to show the similarities to try to show why is it different? Because if we don't say that, we can't fall in the same trap. We can't think that our race is better than others. Because of that, we have rights over others, and we have to be united to fight and to be strong. And then we begin to speak a language that I don't want us to speak. Okay. So let's go to the source in the Torah. Now, after this rabbi has speaking, we go into Shiur Torah, and only after 40 minutes we see the first source from the Torah. Bad work from my side. Okay, but that's how it happens today. Okay. This is one of many sources, but maybe one of the core sources that says that the Jews are chosen above or unique from others. And it said, we are now in Sefer Shmot, in Exodus, chapter 19. It's also very similar to what we are experiencing in our days of the Jewish calendar. We went out of Egypt that we celebrated in Pesach. We were the way telling the Omer towards Shavuot, where we received the Torah. So 7 weeks after the Israelites went out of Egypt as slaves from that slavery, they're gathered under the mountain of Sinai, and here they're going to get the Torah. And what does Hashem tell them? Tells through Moshe, tells them to Moshe, you are unique people above others, okay? But let's see the source and try to understand it. Okay, again, anyone who can read, we will read only the English parts, but the Hebrew is here for those who want. Yes, I can't see, so anyone who wants to read, just unmute and read.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why not? Why not? Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And Moses went up to God, called him from the mountains.
In this translation, it says God with Hebrew letters in the English. So God told.
God told to him from the mountains, saying, Thus shall you say to the house of Jacob, and declare to the children of Israel. You have seen that what I did to Egyptians, how I bore you on angels' wings and brought you to me. Now then, if you will obey my faithfully and keep my covenant, you shall be my treasured possession among all the peoples. Indeed, all the earth is mine.
Okay, so I'll stop here. So it says, in a way, you have seen how I have treated you, so taken you as a people out of Egypt, and now I take you to be, if you follow my covenant, my treasured possession among the people. That is really saying that we are something unique, almost we could say better than other people, because we are the treasured one in the eyes of Hashem, according to this sentence, okay? So until now, are we speaking about ourselves as better than others, I ask? Anyone who wants to answer my question? Does it seem as if we are better than others here, according to this sentence? Above others?
We're not better, but we are different.
Okay, good answer. We are unique.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, you can continue, read the last sentence also. That's pasuk.
But you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are
a kingdom of priests.
Priests, yes. These are the words that you shall speak to the children of Israel.
Yeah. So these sentences, in one hand, are telling us that we are chosen, okay, for this special covenant, and we will be pressure among the nations, okay, in the eyes of Hashem, and we will even become a kingdom of priests, okay. And I want to ask you, when we look in these sentences, what does that tell us? Is this similar to the way the Nazis said that they are a race above others? Or could we find the difference also in these sentences? And I took the sentences in the Torah that most of all tells that we are better than others, or could seem as if we are better than others. Could we see here what the Nazis saw, or is it impossible to see it in this sentence? Yes, Bracha.
Well, I see what you mean, but you have seen what I did to the Egyptians, how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to me. Now then, if you will obey me faithfully, blah, 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 you shall be my treasured possessions among all the peoples. Indeed, all the earth is mine. But it doesn't say that all the earth is the Jews. And it says, if you will obey me faithfully and keep my covenant, meaning it's not slavery, but you have to follow a set order of rules. And you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. just means you have stricter rules to follow because you're supposed to be teachers.
Okay, very well what you say here, because you already point something very, very important. First of all, there is not you are better than others. There is, if you will follow my covenant, you will be pressure. Okay? There is an if here. Meaning, you get a very special mission. If you will follow that mission, you'll do something incredible. But it's not about you being better than others. It's about what is your task. You're not better than anyone else. You got this special task. And if you will follow that, you will become precious, okay? So it's not about, to begin with, not speaking about our rights more than other species, races, people, religions. It speaks about our obligations, okay? So we don't get extra rights, we get extra mitzvot. And as we know, it's not only the 10 commandments, we have got the 613 commandments. And that is what makes you unique, okay? You get a mission, not a right to enjoy and be above others and others serve you. That's not what written here. It's not said, it's not thought. And if everyone thinks that, I will say, think differently. It's really wrong to think that you're better than others. In addition, Bracha, you also pointed about the sentences in the end, saying that when we will do that, what will be our relationship with the other nations? It also says that in these sentences. What will be our relationship with other people?
A holy nation?
But what is a relationship? How is there will be a unique special pressure people itself. But the relationship, what is you spoke about it a little. Where does it speak about our connection to other nations in these sentences? There's one word that points that out in a very clear way.
Kingdom of priests?
Exactly. Okay. What is the work of a priest? Okay. The word in Hebrew is kohanim. There was a priest in the temple. Okay. And we know Kohanim is someone who is above or is unique. The Kohen will get the first aliyah in synagogue, will be the one who goes and prays and says the special bracha of Kohanim in the synagogue. And in the time of the temple, they were the ones who were serving, okay? What is the relationship between a priest and the rest of the people? Is that him becoming better than others? I ask. Anyone who wants to say priest people, is there someone who is above others?
Not above, but they have certain obligations that others don't.
They have certain obligations. They are holy. So we in the people will look up to our Kohanim. When they serve in the temple, we will look up to them. Yes? But who are they serving, the Kohanim?
They're serving the people.
Exactly. They're serving God, but they're doing our service in front of God, okay? So the Kohanim have a unique, special, holy task. But the task is not to be above us. Then they're very, very, very bad Kohanim, okay? Their task is to be our representative. They serve us, the Kohanim, okay? So when we say that the Jewish people have to be a kingdom of priests, if they follow the covenant, what is the relationship between us and the rest of the nations? Are they serving us or are we serving them?
We serve them, obviously.
Exactly. So saying that Hashem says that the Jewish people has a very unique task that is not suitable to all people. It's not good that everyone will be Jewish. That will be terrible to the world, okay? But there's one people that by following, if we can follow the covenant, we could be a light among the nation, not to be above them, but to light the world to everyone. So we are here for them. They are not here for us. Okay? If we think that our task is to be above everyone else, we work against our goal. Our goal is the whole world. We are the priests of ourselves? No, of the whole world. So even when we see these sentences in the Torah that points out the Jewish people as something unique, we could see that the sentences are not speaking about us being chosen and better than others, but actually speaking about our unique task that is holy, that we're very proud of, but we're also very afraid of not doing in the right way. Okay? Because if we won't do our work in a right way, it will not only ruin for ourselves, it will ruin for the whole world. We have an important mission because what everyone does in the world affects everyone. But when you have a special task, you have a special responsibility in addition. That is what this says. And in that way, it's so important to say that is so different from a racist way of seeing the difference between the races. Like the Nazis thought that their race was better, more productive, and have to fight the other races, and have to ruin the Jewish race because that's the anti-race, to the strengthen and to their goal of being stronger and better. The Jewish race, the Jewish way of saying we are unique, and it's very good that you said, no, we're not better, we're unique, is never saying that we are above others, okay? Even not in these sentences that really could almost, for someone who read them in a wrong way, could lead to another place. And when I asked, is the Jewish, is the Jewish religion similar to the Nazi ideology? Because I said, we could also say one people, one land, one guides, okay, or not one leader, or one guy, we could say Mashiach, one leader, okay? But we don't say it as, I think, Bracha, I think if you said it, we don't say it to be above the weak in the society. Our goal is not to win over other races and not to win above all the weak in our society. The Torah tells us the opposite. Our goal is to fight for the weak. There is one halakha, one rule that is quoted more than any other rule in the Torah. And that is how we should treat the foreigner in our societies. That's the opposite of what the German said, or the Nazis, not the German, Nazi Germany. They said that the foreigners, they were making our race less pure. We have to fight them. We have to produce children that will be pure German. And we have to even fight the weaker in our own society because we have to become stronger. Torah speaks always about the one who is fatherless, the one who has lost, the one who have lost his wife or her husband and are weak because of that, the ones who are poor, and the need we have to do to help a society that also sees the poor, that has this conscience that Dervin in the start spoke against. That conscience is our goal. And we learn it from Hashem, because we say that He is merciful, we have to be also merciful, and so on and so on. So the goal, even if we could see, as I try to do here, similarities, and it's important for me to see because some of us could misunderstand it. That's why I say it. Some of us could think, oh, the Torah says we're better than everyone else, and Hashem is work. Even Hashem works for us. No. We work for Hashem. We have to be humble. That is the reason, one of the main reasons for the matzah we just ate in Pesach. The matzah is a humble bread, because when you tell your children every time, Hashem did these great miracles for us, it could lead us to being less humble and to think that it's because we're better than anyone else. And the matzah puts us back to place, saying, be humble. It's because of the plan of Hashem, it's not because of you, okay? That it's happened. That's the whole idea of the humbleness of the matzah that tries to speak about, yeah, you could say, it's so important that we will be proud of our Torah, of our nation. and trying to work as a nation to meet our goals, but not because we are not humble. We are servants, as priests are. We are servants to Hashem, and we are servants for the whole world. And I think the best example to show this, and that's why I try to explain Nazi ideology with the Darwinism that is so going against the helping the weak, the conscience, and then showing that even if we could find similarity, maybe they learn from us, but learn it in a wrong way. Saying, okay, we also want to be the chosen ones, but we want to do it in an egoistic way and not in a moral way. And then we see this kind of Nazism and the terrible consequences of Nazism. I think the best way to show this is to quote Hitler himself. Okay? Anyone who could read? It's not so long. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll do it. The 10 Commandments have lost their validity.
Conscience.
Conscience, yeah, is a Jewish invention. It is a blemish-like circumcises.
Circumcision. Circumcision,
Yeah,
like Brit Milah.
omstændigheder,
Okay.
yeah. Circumcision.
So here we quote Hitler himself, and we could understand it better. When someone reads this sentence, he will say, who is so stupid to think that he could stand there and say that the 10 Commandments is a bad thing? It should have been a known thing for all humanity that the 10 Commandments we all agree about. Okay? The need to respect your parents, the need not to kill, not to steal, to believe in Hashem, let's say in the believing way. But here, that's why I start with explaining this social Darwinism, okay? It says that conscience works against this idea of making society stronger and stronger and stronger. Because there you use your sources to help the older in society to have a good life, but they don't contribute back to the nation. So the conscience is bad. And here in his own way, he's saying the conscience is a Jewish invention to ruin the order of the world, okay? And because of that, I think this shows in his way how different the idea of being a unique one nation in the Jewish way is with the unique way of being one nation in the Nazi way. I won't say the German, because the German could also do tshuva as they tried to do and be in another place. And there's place for all nations, and we don't have to fight each other. And we don't have to try to see that one race has to win over the others. We have to help each other inside the nations and between the nations. And that's the message of Judaism that has made the 10 Commandments not only a Jewish heritage. The 10 Commandments, when Nazi ideology does not lead the world, is a general understanding of the world of that has to be our conscience. We are against killing. We are against it ruining the frame of the values in society. The conscience is a good thing, is not a bad thing. And we have to listen to it, and we have to show compassion over other people from our own nation, from other nations. That is the value of the Torah. And that's the unique learning from the Jewish people, that we sometimes have succeeded in giving out to the whole world when we have been a good kingdom of priests. And sometimes we have done our work worse. When you take it and change it a little and make it a little egoistic, it becomes the most terrible ideology that the world have seen. And that we have to fight not only in 1930, but also in our times. Because I don't want to compare anyone to Nazi, also in our time. Too many people do it too much. And I haven't seen anyone sending people to gas chambers in our generation, and we know that it will never happen again. But the seeds of nationalism in an evil way, fighting against the conscience, that could still be out there in the world. And I will add, saying a very hard sentence, that could also be inside ourselves. So when we fight Nazism, we don't have to fight only the Nazism in other people. We have to fight it in ourselves also, okay? Because we could also think that we are better than others. And when our race will win over others, then it will be better for everyone. And that's not the way of the Torah. We have to be servant of Hashem and a kingdom of priests to serve the whole world and having place for all nations to serve Hashem in their way. That is our goal of the Torah. And that is why we, at least for Hitler, and he said it in all words, that's why he saw us as a problem, because we say the opposite in many, many ways. And I think it's an important lesson for us in this day. And Yom HaShoah, as I said, we do it differently in different communities and parts of the Jewish world. But we commemorate, first of all, the victims of this evil ideology that has ruined and has been a darkness in the world in the years they were leading. And that's the ideology. We just not only fighting that, we're fighting that kind of thinking, that kind of ideology. And that's also what we need to do in our times. In times when I say we can't compare. And when we say that 7th of October was the worst catastrophe in the Jewish people since the Holocaust, it's not because it's the same as the Holocaust. But since the Holocaust, we haven't experienced something like that. The whole Holocaust is something totally different. And in the way to win over the darkness in our times, we have to not win it with more hatred towards other nations, not more pointing on others that they're the evil and we are the good, but actually creating more goodness in ourselves, making ourselves better, helping the weak, creating more conscience in the world. That is the real answer for Nazism, and I hope that we'll take us with us from this lesson about Nazi ideology and Judaism. I thank you all for taking part in this, a little unique and different way of studying, and we really pray for when we remember that Hashem will hear our prayers and help us finding the right way, finding the light, and all nations to find that, and that we hope that we will meet in coming years, will say, oh, the world is now going again in the right direction. We all have a responsibility to try and make that happen. Thank you all and have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very much.
Rav.